A unique opportunity when you read a book is to have the actual author sitting with you in a room and asking him questions. I'm Dan Dather, narrator of Three Simple Things, and I'm actually with the author, Thom Shea, here today. Thom, how you doing?
Thanks, Dan. The honor is actually mine because you have one of the best voices, and it's more of a privilege to be with you in a room than you be with me, for sure.
You want to hug?
And like you said, it was an elder thing,
We spend a lot of time together. I read your first book, Unbreakable, talking about the 5 pyramids of human performance. But that book was different from this one in that it was your thoughts and what you'd learned and gained in combat and your life as a Navy SEAL that you wanted your kids to know.
Yeah, I had written that while I was actually, I guess the rough draft, while I was actually in combat trying to write home some pertinent ideas that I wanted my kids to be able to do in case I died, but then I didn't die. And came home, and Stacy had asked me to write that into a manuscript, which eventually became Unbreakable.
I know that in your foreword, you talk about the foundation of the book, the target you're shooting for. It says here, first sentence, this book grinds out the story about my life after the SEAL teams, facing a complex new world and finding 3 simple things. You say you found 3 simple things. How'd that happen?
Part of being a SEAL is living in chaos and complexity and spending my adult life dealing in chaotic environments. And the way SEALs do that is they make everything basic and simple. And you wouldn't think that. Shooting is very basic. And to boil it down to 3 ways, there's 3 things that you have to always remember when you're shooting. And then leading men in combat boiled things down to whatever you can think about if you're a 5-year-old kid at night. So if you can't communicate at that kind of basic level, then you're not going to succeed. So all chaotic environments, we had to boil down to simplicity. And then I graduated from the SEAL teams and got into the business world, still capable of doing something important, not old enough and broken down enough where I was going to completely retire, and asked to go into businesses and train leaders. And that was another chaotic, very complex environment. And I couldn't think in the complexity. I'm like, I got to make this very simple for me. And in the 5 years of working and training leaders from the genesis of Unbreakable, the book, I was able to boil all the problems that I saw in business and also those 5 areas, which I think you put through you probably communicated in the book. Health is one area, intellectual is another area, wealth, relationship, and spiritual. So those 5 areas I call pyramids. And I found a way to boil down the complexity of each of those 5 environments into 3 simple things in each area. Those 3 simple things are so simple they don't make sense to people. In each area, you have to do something offensive. In each area, you have to do something defensive. In each area, you have to think strategically or think about the future. So I boiled it all down into those 3 simple things.
CEOs in that world of chaos, that is corporate business, do they resist the simple? Because they seem to hang their hat on what they know, and that's the complex.
I think everybody resists the simple because you can get away with it. And the premise I think I know now of success is if you literally can, as a human being, make a promise and keep it, you're already in the top 2%. And it doesn't matter where you grow up. Oddly, it doesn't matter where you grow up in the world. So I call it honor your word. And then the other premise of success is, can you stop quitting? Like stop the notion that there's a way out. So that being the case, all humans can actually do that. Doesn't matter if you're crippled. Doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter if you're abused or male, female. Race doesn't come into that. It could if you quit. So I boiled it all down to that. Then I realized that what happens in business is it's very complex. So entrepreneurs build something from nothing. Then they become the boss of something that was bigger than they thought, and it got very complex. So I had 2 employees, now I have 100. So it became very complex for most CEOs. And if you run a Fortune 500 company, you have 10,000 employees. That's a very complex environment. So what I found in helping them out at the leadership level is their life got too complex. And they only got good at one of those 3 simple thing areas, if you want to talk about that.
I remember a few years back, you took me to the Poinsett Club in Greenville and laid out the 5 pyramids of human performance on whiteboard. And it was a lot of whiteboard. You erased it probably 10 times and just kept adding. Fascinating day. Give us an example how you would apply 3 simple things to one of the pyramids. You pick one.
Well, going back to the boss or the wealth pyramid. So the 3 simple things, again, are offense, defense, and strategic. In the wealth pyramid, here's how they apply. And it's also a time derivative. So each of the pyramids has a relative time that I found if you can apply the 3 simple things and steal time from that pyramid, so to speak. In wealth, it happens to be 3 hours. So the offensive side of wealth is an hour of prospecting or offense, or trying to find new people that you've never met to engage in your business every day that ends in Y. Like there's not a day off. People take days off. So that's how you apply one of the 3 things. The other one is the defensive thing. So I need to deal with existing clients for an hour. On a just baseline, I want to spend an hour finding new clients. I want to spend an hour dealing with existing clients. Then what I found to be the most pertinent thing for CEOs or C-suite level people is taking an hour out of your day and letting your brain not have to deal with the day-to-day machinations. I call that strategic. So don't try to solve any problems. Like turn the lights off, listen to whatever you want to listen to, go on a run where you don't have to solve problems, whatever it is, and let your brain think about the future. So, and that just takes 3 hours, 1 hour per event, if you want to call it that. In that space, what I found is it takes CEOs 6 months to get to that baseline. They'll work an 18-hour day just doing defensive stuff, just dealing with clients that they already have, or talking to people that have no regard. They'll just waste time at the refrigerator getting food during the day. So they're not on point. So they're just wasting time. So in the process of not only writing 3 simple things, but trying to figure out how to articulate that, is what would be possible if you didn't negotiate with your 3 simple things in each of the pyramids. And wealth cannot be negotiated. You still have to, on every day that ends in Y, find new people to talk to, or try to make 1 sale a day, and then spend an hour dealing with the clients that you have. And then for a boss to actually take an hour and think about the 5-year plan was the hardest. Like the brains or the musculature or whatever they were designed cannot think about the future because they're dealing with this moment. The ones that finally consider how is this going to play out in the future actually start making a lot of money. And so from the 6-month mark to the 18-month mark, once they start not negotiating with their day, they 2x their business.
What do you say when early on a CEO would say to you, I don't have time. My days are slammed.
Always. Every CEO doesn't have time. The problem with time, even though this is an interesting conversation, the problem with time that I've found is that when you put time as a excuse on the table, I hate to tell people this, but I've seen it now 1,000 times. If time is your problem, interest is your real problem. Like you actually lack interest in not only wealth, but the other areas of your life. So when time becomes a factor, I can literally look at somebody and say, here's what we'll do first. You have to gain your health first. Well, I want to gain business. I know that you want to gain business, but your health is not in check. And guarantee your relationships at home are not in check. So what I found a way to do is by hedging against this time factor. I know that you don't have time. It's that you don't have interest. I'm going to steal an hour or 90 minutes from your day and get your health on point. So we do that for a month. Their interest level goes up. Once interest level goes up, then it's very easy to deal with what am I going to prioritize my day to do.
Yeah, they make time.
They make time.
Yeah, they see the value.
Yep.
Absolutely. So one of the 5 pyramids is relational. And you and I, when we're sitting in a restaurant or talking, we talk a lot about that. Makes me feel like you feel that may be one of, if not the most important of the 5 pyramids. Is there a ranking? Is there one more important than the
I don't know. I don't think none of them have any level of importance over the other. But the detraction of 2 of them have a terrible effect. If you don't have relationship and spirituality on point, you can feel it. And what I wouldn't have thought this to be so important coming from the SEAL community, that to actually make a difference in the business world, you have to deal with the CEO's relationships. They don't think it's important either. And what I found to do is it becomes a priority up front. But I can't deal with it up front. When I train clients, I have to actually deal with their health first. They've hired me to come in and make a difference in their business. I'm very interested in that too, because that's where all the money comes from. But I have to get that person's health in check first. Then the next thing we deal with is their relationships at home, which are guaranteed out of check, if you want to call it that.
Right. Most successful businessmen, they've sacrificed something, right? And it's usually that.
And you actually don't have to sacrifice it. And what I found is nobody else, I'm sure other people are, but nobody else is teaching that. Like actual trainable, learnable commodity is how to put your relationships back into priority.
You know, you talk about time and how they'll say they don't have enough time. I'm in that boat too. A famous theologian once, he said, it was about discipline, right? Just planting discipline into your life, these 3 simple things. He said, I have so much to do today. There's no way I can get it done unless I spend a couple hours in prayer and thought and scripture reading, right? And that just, the same thing you're talking about. You've got to take time out in order to build a foundation that you can push off of and have success. In any area of life, foundations are huge. They're critical. Talk about what you call the non-negotiable baseline.
So I found there to be 6 hours of not negotiating with the 3 simple things in the book. And I had it in a prioritized level, having put over 1,000 people through this training. It ends up being, in hindsight, I didn't think of it in foresight. In hindsight, there's a timeline to hit, and it takes 6 hours that you cannot negotiate with these 3 simple things. You have to execute on them. The first one happens in the morning, right when you wake up. 3 simple spiritual things, and it only takes 15 minutes in the morning. And then again at night, you have to do the same exact things. So the totality of that, the spirituality aspect of it, is only 30 minutes a day. That's not a lot of time drain, but they're on point and they're written down, and I have to do it. Like you can't negotiate away from it. So accomplishing 3 simple things in the morning right when you wake up and 3 simple things at night positions you spiritually at a level that most people cannot understand. Then the next 30 minutes that you take, you can split it up again. You can split all these up. The next one is relational. So you have to spend, which is the most interesting thing that I've witnessed in my lifetime, is it's simple. Like another term that I've found, simple but not easy. This stuff is very simple, but it's not easy to accomplish because for whatever reason. So the relational one is 15 minutes in the morning, 15 at night, 5 minutes or 10 minute total. So say in the morning, 5 minutes listening to your spouse. Listen. Like close your mouth. Don't inject anything. Don't judge. You listen to what the other person is committed to. Don't listen to their drama. If they inject drama, cut them off and say, honey, just tell me what you're going to do today that you're really interested in doing. And then the next 5 minutes is to share with your spouse what you're going to committedly do that day. Like, hey, I'm going to go to the drugstore. All right, that's all I need to know. Something that you're committed to doing. And then 5 minutes, or totality, 10 minutes of intimacy. So asking CEOs or business owners to spend 30 minutes with their spouse, listening, speaking, and having intimacy was like pulling teeth from a trapped bear. Like, I don't have time for that. Wait, whoa, I said 30 minutes. No, I'm not interested. It's not going to make any difference. I know who my spouse is. Really, so write down what she's committed to or he's committed to. They couldn't do it. When was the last time you told your spouse what you're going to do today or what you're committed to? When was the last time you had intimacy? What do you mean by intimacy? What you already answered the question. If you're gonna put that into the capital, you actually don't have it. And that takes forever for people to have 30 minutes of on point. Like, I want to listen to you. What are you up to today? And you can't negotiate it. So what would your life be like? Which I found this question to be pertinent. What would your life be like if you actually did the simple? If you listened to your spouse and spoke to your spouse and had intimacy, and they don't know how to answer it. But it's simple, but it takes so much overcoming the demons to do that. And then the next inject time that you take from the clients is what I call the 90-minute physical time. So you have to work out every day for an hour. You have to move something, isolate yourself from other things, and go out and on point do something that's relative to being healthy. Run, swim, bike, whatever it would be for an hour. Because your body actually really loves to do something for an hour. And it doesn't matter if you have no legs, you have arms, do something. Get your heart rate up, be interested in what you do, and go do it. And then actually stretching for 20 minutes, which nobody does. And then drinking 10 glasses of water every day. So they're simple. It's not like nuclear fusion. So work out for an hour, stretch for 20 minutes, and it takes around 10 minutes then to drink 10 glasses of water throughout the day. That has made more difference to the upside of business for people than just working on their business. So the next 30 minutes throughout the day, you have to learn one new thing a day that you're interested in. So a new way to talk to, like whatever you do, a new way to run, a new way to sit, a new way to do something. And then take 10 minutes and get better at something. Learn a new way, or learn a way to get better at something that you're already good at. So now we're in the intellectual pyramid. 10 minutes, learn something new. 10 minutes, get better at something you're already good at. And 10 minutes of dreaming. Just let your mind wander. It doesn't have to figure out anything, but learning is also a dreaming aspect. Let your brain wander wherever it wants to wander for 10 minutes. So then 3 hours a day doing wealth. that 6-hour baseline of just doing 3 simple things per pyramid literally has made bigger upside in each one. Like I've taken people that weren't runners to ultramarathon runners, which normally isn't possible. I just want you to run for an hour a day. And you don't get days off. So if you don't want to run, get on the bike. You still have to do something for it. So they go from not running and like 280 pounds to within 6 months being able to run 50K. And to me, that's what I say. It's fascinating what happens when you're doing simple things.
I appreciate how you say over and over and over in the book that mantra, honor your word and never give up. That's a foundational phrase. I mean, that's bedrock. That's your heart. I mean, I know you. So, thinking about your next book?
I'm still trying to figure out how this one's going to work out. No, I swear, Dan, it's and all the times that we've talked, everything has to have a foundation. And it's scripturally said differently. You don't build your house on shifting sands, which connotes that there's no foundation. But I found the foundation for human beings to be, if you cannot be the person that you say you are, it's so hard to accomplish anything. Like whatever comes out of your mouth, if you don't honor that, it's so hard to grow. Like if you say something to do another, man, you're creating so much complexity into that foundational principle. Why don't you just say something and go do it, which is the premise of the training that I do, is say something and go do it. But it takes a long time for people to be able to accomplish that. Like say you're going to work out, like our first challenge that I put into the training is 21 days. Say something and go do it for 21 days. It seems easy, but the demons prevent people from doing that. I say demons. You may hear it differently, but I'm going to excuse myself from doing that. My leg hurts. I can't run today. My wife doesn't want me to do it, or my spouse doesn't want me to do it. My kids, I can't spend an hour away from my kids. So you made an agreement, and then you didn't keep it for some reason. And the most phenomenal reason, I call it phenomenal, reason why things don't work out for human beings is this weird excuse called, this is stupid. It doesn't make any sense anymore. But this is stupid prevents people from that last 3 inches that it takes to be successful. Like, I can't do it anymore. That's another way of saying this is stupid. Like, dude, you're right there. I can't do it anymore. Oh my gosh, you're right there. This is stupid. I can't do it. But I learned, so what happens in Hell Week is they teach you that. We're going to give you every reason to quit, and we're going to make you feel it. And either you're going to honor your excuse or you're going to honor your commitment to be a SEAL. And here's the first reason. I'm freaking cold, and it's scary cold, and pain, and they're cutting you down emotionally, and they're berating you emotionally. Are you going to quit? Oh, I can't do any more push-ups. Good, we're going to do 1,000 more. What do you mean I can't do one more? I don't care. Either you're going to keep doing this or you're going to quit. So that, I found that to be the most foundational work to deal with anybody, is teach somebody to be their word, which is honor their word, and dude, don't give up. Why would you give up? Like literally, I say it this way to you, it's going to sound fun too. You're going to die anyway. Just don't give up. What would happen if you didn't give up?
Great question. 3 simple things, leading during chaos. You know, it's interesting. You would read that subtitle and think, all right, this is for leaders. This is about leadership. Well, leadership starts with leading yourself. Would you agree with that?
You have to. Yeah. If you can't lead yourself, you're going to be found out very quickly.
I think that's one of the underlying premises of the whole book. Discipline, strategy, be strategic with your life, and it pays off in every area. I'll tell you this, what I was thinking, when you were talking about 5 minutes of listening to your spouse, I thought, That's incredible that I don't do that. And I know what it would pay off. I know. It would be invaluable. She'd chew on that all day. He cared. He listened. And he's gonna ask me about it tonight. And it's priceless. And it's ridiculously simple.
The funny thing that's what everybody says once they do it.
Right.
And what they discover, that's probably the key word on that, is you think you know somebody, but what you find out when you listen is you had no idea. You have no idea of who somebody is. Just because you knew them yesterday doesn't mean anything anymore. Tuesday's a different day. Wednesday's a different day. But if you don't listen, you're gonna separate from them. And listening is the quickest way to bring two people together, is when both parties listen committedly to the other person. And so one of the funniest stories about that, and I don't think it's funny, I look back and say it's funny, is a guy hired me to work for his company through him. So I want you to help my company by coaching me. And I don't pry. Like, I don't get in. I don't have like an analytical approach to, all right, answer all these 5,000 questions, and then we're going to give you a profile, and you're this type of person. That's not, I don't find that relevant. So I've been working with him physically first. Got to get your health check. And he was already a great athlete. So he was really absorbing the training well through that. Then we start the relational training, which is always a kick in the jimmy. It literally is to people. Like, why? It doesn't make any difference. Okay. So I want you to spend 10 minutes listening to your spouse. He says, which one? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I didn't think you could do that. He goes, no, I'm on my 7th marriage. I go, okay. It's not like a judgment. So you have to listen to your current wife for 10 minutes. He goes, I'm not married. I'm like, you're confusing me. He goes, I've been divorced 7 times, and I find no value whatsoever in listening to women. Like, okay, I get it. There's a lot of pain there, but I'm not interested in what you just said. So obviously you have a girlfriend, and I'd met her. And I said, you have to listen to what she's committed to for 10 minutes a day. And he goes, no. I'm like, well, this is where the training stops, because you paid me to make a difference in your life. This is the third part that we have to make a difference in. He goes, no, I got this.
Right.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. So why don't you try listening to your girlfriend? So 21 days of listening, speaking, and having intimacy. He goes, intimacy is easy. We have that every day. I'm like, damn, I wish I had it every day. But so he did. He listened for the first time in 20 years. He goes, that was remarkable. I didn't know. What I found is that she's not interested in me. Yeah, but you heard it. When you spoke to her, what did you say? Because I found it easy just to be on point and say, this is what I'm committed to doing today. And it increased our level of intimacy. I said, oh, that's cool. So here's, what do you think I should do now? I'm like, it's not up to me. I say, you have how many kids? He goes, I have 11. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? You have to go back to all your kids in the next year and listen to them. He says, it's not possible. I haven't seen my son in 18 years. Good. Try it. He goes, I don't want to do that. I'm like, okay, so let's just call it where it is, and our contract is void because I know that it matters. So he did that, and it actually took him 13 months. He didn't spend every day listening to his kids, but he found time during the week to call each one, reintroduce himself to them, male and female. And at the end of that period of time, he got me back into the training, so to speak. And then he graduates from the training, and we ended up making about $6 million for his company. So anyway, the graduation, he flew Stacy and I out to his house, and he introduced us to his family. And Stacy's like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "I just made him listen and speak, and not to reacquire bad relationships, just be a part of them." And he hadn't seen his son in 18 years. He goes, "I didn't even know what my son was doing in his life. Now my son knows what I'm doing." And he goes, "The intimacy was weird. I just acknowledged, what he was doing. And, when we were actually together, we hugged for the first time. Is that what you meant by intimacy?" Yeah, if that's what you gained from it. What his ex-wives, all they wanted him to do was connect with their kids.
Simple.
And he said, "Man, that was the best savings I'd ever had in my life. I saved $600,000 in child support."
So it's practical.
And he said that was probably more important that I did that. And what he found is that he would never do business with women, but he bought and sold companies for a living. So he ended up buying a company that was owned by a woman out of the work that we did, and which was fun negotiating by just listening to what they were committed to, not judging, not being emotionally attached, listening to what the woman wanted for the business, and he would speak what he wants into that business space. And their intimacy was just proximity, because you can't really have that level. So he bought the company, kept her in charge, and turned around a terrible asset and made, within 4 months of him buying the company, they were netting around $1.5 million a month. And they were bleeding $1 million a month when he bought them. And he just encouraged her to be the best version of herself that she could possibly be.
Right.
But that wasn't possible
Yeah,
because he couldn't listen.
What a
He had
turnaround. Yeah.
he'd had all this stuff in his brain about, because every woman that he was with ended up taking him. And he said, "Man, the listening aspect is probably more important than any," because I would just tell them what to do. I'm like, "Hey, nobody responds well to that." He said, "Do you do that with the companies that you buy?" He goes, "No, I listen." So why was that off with the woman side? And that was probably the reason why we kept training people, was the difference that it made to him and his immediate life.
Those first 21 days, do you follow up at all, or do you just turn them loose?
No, I follow up every 7 days with each client, and
I would think
because
that'd be helpful.
it gets untethered.
Right. Until
Like
they
the
get
demons
traction.
come back in, yeah. And but yeah, every 7 days, all I do is deal with all the reasons why they don't want to do it.
Right.
Like, I can't do this, dude. It's 30 minutes. You can do this.
You haven't mentioned the term internal dialogue, which was a big piece of the first book, but it's in here. It's just, what are you saying to yourself when you stop?
Yeah, that what you say, and it's also got references across all spiritual platforms. Whatever you're processing becomes true for you. Like, if you are dealing with bad things, you become that person. So I just gave it the term called internal dialogue. Literally, whatever you're saying to yourself about what's possible becomes possible. And there's a way to teach that. So the 3 simple things is the actual process and method of teaching people to own how they internalize language and then execute on that.
That's really helpful. That's one of the things that's helped me most in all of this is just listen to what you're saying. Change it.
Yeah. If it doesn't work,
Right.
let it go, man.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's good stuff. Talk about the true value of life formula.
Yeah, so the true value of life formula is spiritual is 13x, relational is 7x, wealth is 5x, physical is 4x, and intellectual is 1x. And that be the way to measure the value of your real life that you lead. So there's 30 X's. So how you find the 1X factor is you take how much your salary per year, how much money you make in a year, and that's in the wealth category. So that is your salary divided by 5, which is the 5X factor, divided by 365 to find the 1X. And then you put that number into under the 13 and under the 7 and under the 5 and under the 4 and under the 1. You use 30 times X. That's the true value of your life written in dollars. So why is 13X 13? Without making it complicated, I'll tell the other story. So by maintaining that 6-hour baseline, you actually take that number. So if it was $200,000, it's like $110, which is the X factor. So times 13. By doing 30 minutes a day in spiritual stuff, doing those 3 simple things, pay yourself 13 times $110. That's the value of spiritual in your life, the express value of executing on 3 simple things in your life. So by doing the 30 minutes of relational 3 simple things, the $110 times 7, $770, you're going to pay yourself that amount by doing those 3 simple things. So when I do those 3 simple things, which are listen, speak, and intimacy, if I execute on those, I pay myself $710 a day. And then obviously wealth would be the money coming in that you have already been paying yourself. So that doesn't change. By going out and working out for 60 minutes, stretching for 20 minutes, and drinking 10 glasses of water, pay yourself the 4X. That's the value of your life. You could either make it by just making money and foregoing the other 4 areas, like drop spirituality, drop relational, drop health, and drop learning. You'll be the fattest, wealthiest, most divorces, and the smartest guy in the room. You could either make $1.2 million doing it that way, or you could make $200,000 and have the real value of your life be $1.2 million because you've actually paid yourself that amount. And just try it for 21 days. You know what people don't pay themselves to do? The spiritual and relational. That ends up being 20X on a 30X scale if you've done the numbers. You can't overcome negating, if you pull that 20X out, so that's 2,000 plus, whatever dollars that is, you can't make it up.
Can't make it up in another area.
So that's why I say if you have this negated life, that's why people say they have to work more. When they have that life expressed in front of them, when they're on point spiritually, on point relationally, and they're healthy, and they're constantly learning, they will never say there's not enough time.
Right.
They always feel, oh, I'm done. So 6-hour day, well, what all the CEO clients now say is, I'm able to accomplish my workday in 3 hours, but I feel guilty. Well, you're making more money now. Why are you staying? You've accomplished everything because now you're on point. You're really on point. So that is an interesting formula that I call him a savant partner of mine that came up with this way to articulate the value of those other pyramids. And it's interesting how that plays out. And everybody that goes through that 21 day literally takes them 4 months to do it 21 days straight, to pay themselves to do 3 simple things. But after that, they're like, oh, I see where I've been draining myself. Yeah, because you've been pulling out all the spiritual and relational time, the monetization of that. You see it going out every day, which makes you feel like you have to work harder to get any money. When you actually see that for 21 days. Like, do that once a year for a month, you'll have all your vacation money stored up. Or just do it once a year to do an investment, because that's a lot of money in 1 month that you've put into your hand. It's not in a bank. You've actually put it into a pot. Now you got this $6,000 to $10,000. Good. Now do something with that money.
Fascinating. Thom, this has been good. It's been a great journey for me to read the book. Read it through a couple times, recorded it, and I would just say to you, keep training people. We all need it.
Yep. Well, thanks for taking the time, and everybody, there is so much more that's available to the human condition by doing three simple things. And I can't wait for everybody to read and connect with us. And Stacy and I love everybody. Thank you.
Then get Thom in a room and unpack this little book.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you, Thom.
Yep. Thanks, Dan. Life. That's why people say they have to work more. When they have that life expressed in front of them, when they're on point spiritually, on point relationally, and they're healthy, and they're constantly learning, they will never say there's not enough time.
Right.
They always feel, oh, I'm done. So 6-hour day, well, what all the CEO clients now say is, I'm able to accomplish my workday in 3 hours, but I feel guilty. Well, you're making more money now. Why are you staying? You've accomplished everything because now you're on point. You're really on point. So that is an interesting formula that I call him a savant partner of mine that came up with this way to articulate the value of those other pyramids. And it's interesting how that plays out. And everybody that goes through that 21-day literally takes them 4 months to do it 21 days straight, to pay themselves to do three simple things. But after that, they're like, oh, I see where I've been draining myself. Yeah, because you've been pulling out all the spiritual and relational time, the monetization of that. You see it going out every day, which makes you feel like you have to work harder to get any money. When you actually see that for 21 days, like do that once a year for a month, you'll have all your vacation money stored up. Or just do it once a year to do an investment, because that's a lot of money in 1 month that you've put into your hand. It's not in a bank. You've actually put it into a pot. Now you got this $6,000 to $10,000. Good. Now do something with that money.
Fascinating. Thom, this has been good. It's been a great journey for me to read the book. Read it through a couple times, recorded it, and I would just say to you, keep training people. We all need it.
Yep. Well, thanks for taking the time, and everybody, there is so much more that's available to the human condition by doing three simple things. And I can't wait for everybody to read and connect with us. And Stacy and I love everybody. Thank you.
Then get Thom in a room and unpack this little book.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you, Thom.
Yep. Thanks, Dan.